Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have some announcements to make. Also, I'm going to go over my TBR not for just October, but also November and December. Now, I am not going to get through all of these books. It is going to be literally impossible, but I wanted to pull all the books out that had got my attention, made me want to read them for one reason or another, and just so I can have some books because we'll get into the announcement and I'll kind of go over that setup, but make sure that you like this video, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any of my future content. In my description box below, you'll find the link to my Patreon, you'll find the link to my Instagram and my Goodreads, and also my Pango Books account if you want to purchase any books that I unhaul from my book boxes or, my normal books that I buy from Books A Million and Barnes & Noble and stuff that I no longer want on my shelf. So let's get into the announcement really quick. So we are actually moving into my busy season. Now, if anybody was around last year, they know that I am going to go down to just one video a week. I'm not even going to be doing my weekly vlogs because I'm going to be starting to work 10 or 11 hours a day with no breaks or lunches, and by the time I get home, I'm just exhausted. And you would think that I work retail because I'm like, oh, it's the busy season, right? Because it's coming up on Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, but I don't work retail. I actually work in insurance, where I work with seniors and elderly for their Medicare insurance. So during this time is their annual enrollment, and we have thousands of clients that we service, and there's only 3 of us girls that take care of that. So it gets kind of busy during that time. I love my job. I love seeing all of the elderly come into the office, and there's a lot of them that I've seen over the course of years where I like to catch up with them, see what their life is like. So anyway, that's why my busy season is going to be going on. It's going to be going on until the middle of December. Today is the 28th of September, so a couple days before this video is going to go up, but I'm just going to go ahead and get this video made. I didn't plan on it, as you can tell. I have no makeup on, my hair is put up, but I was already going through my shelves and looking at what books I wanted to put on my TBR, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit down and do a video and just kind of get that going. So I just wanted to give you that announcement that from this week on, we're gonna go to just one video a week, and it's going to be kind of a compilation of a bunch of different things each week, where it's going to be a little bit longer of a video because I'm going to give you my wrap up of whatever books I did read that week. But I'm also going to, if I get any book boxes or book hauls in or any unhauls in there, I'm going to put those in the video. Also, if there is any recommendations that I want to give to any of you, I'll definitely do that as well. So it's going to be kind of a mashup of a lot of different things. But I hope you guys love that because I know that I was really enjoying my vlogs, and I was trying to, figure out how I could make them more entertaining. Is that the word? Yeah, entertaining. But I'll get back into it. Probably middle of December, I will come back on. I'll announce that we're going to go back to 2 videos a week, and we're going to be going back to the vlog, but I got to get through the busy season. So with all that out of the way, with the announcement out, let's get into all of the books that I want to read in October, November, or December. Now, like I said, guys, all of these books are not going to get read. You are going to be astounded at how many books I pulled off of my shelf. But during this time of year, I don't structure myself each month to a normal TBR because I don't know each week what I'm going to be able to read, because some weeks I may get off at 5 o'clock at night and able to come home and actually get through a good chunk of a book. Then there's other nights that I'll get home at like 6 or 7, and I'm like, I just don't even want to read or anything. So, some weeks I may read one book, some weeks I may read 2 or 3, but I like to just structure it where I just do a lot of mood reading during this time. So that's why I picked out a lot of books. So I just have kind of an array of books that I can look at and just be like, okay, I want to read that one today, or whatever the case may be, instead of just looking at my shelves being like, what do I want to read now, right? So I don't know if anybody gets that way, where like if you look at your bookshelves and if you have quite a bit on your shelves that you haven't read, you get overwhelmed because it's like, well, what do I want to read now? Like, what am I in the mood for? And sometimes you look at your shelves and you're like, you know what? I don't know what I want to read. It gets to that point. So I'm just going to keep my stack in a separate area, and I'm just going to only look at that stack, and that's what I'm going to read, unless a book comes in from like a book box that really grabs my attention or anything like that. So let's get into the books that I do not have physically. I have my phone here so I don't forget about the books that are pre-ordered that I definitely want to prioritize. So the first book, of course, is going to be A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. Of course, this isn't released yet, but when it does come out, I am going to be prioritizing that to read that probably within the first few days that it's out. Also, Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. That is another one that I will be prioritizing whenever it is released, because I definitely want to read that, and I want to read these books pretty close to when they're released, because I don't want to be spoiled, right? Like, we already know that a lot of these books that I'm mentioning, they're going to be out there in TikToks and, YouTube and everything, and I just don't want to be spoiled, right? So I'm going to get through them as quick as possible. Of course, Iron Flame. I'm pretty sure a lot of us are ready for Iron Flame, so of course that's going to be a priority read also. And then Check and Mate by Allie Hazelwood. I really can't wait for this one to come out. Also, Do Your Worst by Rosie Dannon. I'm so excited for this one as well. And of course, if you watched my previous videos, you know that these are like the books that I'm most excited for that have yet to release this year. And then also I want to prioritize Being Henry, The Fawns and Beyond by Henry Winkler. That is a nonfiction biography memoir that's coming out about Henry Winkler that he wrote, and I'm pretty sure that he's also narrating it on Audible or audio. So I'm going to be listening to that, but I'm sure you guys are not excited for that at all, unless you're a big Henry Winkler fan, and then you might be. Another book that I am going to be prioritizing, it's already out, but I do not have a physical copy of it, and that is Blood Union Part 1 by Vila Roth, which is the 5th book in the Blood Grace series. I haven't even continued on with that world because I wanted to get through a lot more books, but I need to go back to Leo and Cassia. I need to go back to that world. I am missing it. So I'm going to be putting that on my Kindle and just diving in and out of that world, whenever I have a free moment. It's not going to be one that I am going to solely be focusing on, but I am going to be reading it in chunks that come out. So anyway, those are the books that I do not have physically that are going to be a priority for me. And then the last book that is a priority for me is Becca and the Books. I will link her channel below. Her Alpha Ho book club is now starting a new series because she did DNF the Vila Roth series, the Blood Grace series. So even though I'm continuing on with it, and I think there's a couple others that are because they are enjoying it, we are starting a new series because, she wants something to read. So what one? That is Savage Lands by Stacey Marie Brown. Now, in October, this is the book, and then, of course, November will be book 2, December is book 3, so, of course, the first 3 books are books that are on my TBR for October, November, and December. So I will be reading this alongside with Becca and the Books, and the Alpha Ho Book Club. So I'm pretty excited for that. So now let's get into all the books that are maybes. They are mood reads. They are books that I may gravitate towards. I may not. And that is actually, let's talk about my last priority. I just saw this on the top of my pile. And that is this huge stack of manga that I have. So I don't even have these in order. I just picked them up off my shelf. But I want to get caught up on all of my manga that I have because I have quite a bit, and I know there are some in here that have multiple books that I haven't quite acquired, and I want to read these first before I start buying the rest in the series. So the first one is Dick Fight Island. I don't really need to explain this at all, but Becca in the books had read it, and so I'm intrigued with that one. The next one that I want to read is My Happy Marriage, which is also a Netflix TV show, but I don't want to watch the TV show until I get caught up on the series. And then, let me see here, actually, let me try to get these organized. That was book 1, and then I have book 2, and I have book 3 here, and the book 2 and 3 came as a gift from my Elfster gift, because I'm in a monthly book club on Facebook that does like Elfster gifts every month or every couple of months. So they ended up getting me book 2 and 3, and they also ended up getting me a bookmark. And I think that is so cool, right? Like, just so cool. And so I have, these two that I need to read in that series. And then, of course, I need to start My Gently Raised Beast. I only have book 1. I need to get the rest in the series. But again, I want to get through what I have so I don't have like an ever-growing manga shelf that just never gets read. So I have that. And then, of course, I have book 2 and book 3 in Game Between the Suits, which, of course, I just read book 1 last week, I believe. Yes, last week. And it was really, really good. It's all about a girl that's like married to her job. She like works all these crazy hours, and of course this new guy comes in and, he's like, hey, let's have kind of a deal here. And it's kind of a sexy deal. So can't wait to get to these as well. And then the last manga that I have, I only have book 1 because it kind of caught my attention. But that is A Galaxy Next Door. I have no idea what this is about. But I'm intrigued. I'm so intrigued. I know that, like, this guy, he's raising his, let me look. I don't know. Oh, yeah, it is his 2 younger siblings. I thought it was like his niece and his nephew. But anyway, on the back here, you can see, that he's raising his 2 younger siblings, and this girl is next door, and they kind of become friends, and then all of a sudden, she's announcing to everybody that they're engaged, and he's like, what is happening right now? And that's all that I know. That's all that I know. So those are the mangas that I'm going to prioritize. Now, let's actually get to my stack here. Of course, I'm going to reiterate, I'm not getting to all of these books. I'm going to tell you right now, if I get to all of these books, I'll do something special on this channel. If by midnight on December 31st, I've read all of these books, we're going to have something spectacular going on this channel. I'll do like a massive giveaway. Something will happen, okay? So just know that. But the first book is A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy. I don't know much about this. I've seen this around a lot of booktubers, TBRs, or ones that they've read, and I think it is the Lancaster Prep series. I really hope this is book 1. It's probably not, though, so I'm going to have to do the research on that, but I definitely want to try to read this because I've heard so much about it. The next one is a Bookish Box special edition that I had just got, but some of these are going to have like the spooky, gothic, horror-esque vibes that are going to fit perfectly for October, and I have way too many in here, so of course, probably not going to get all to my spooky ones, but we'll see. But this one is Blood Orange by Karina Halley. I don't know much about this. I think this is like kind of a reincarnation series where this man falls in love with this woman, and whenever it's discovered or something like that, he's cursed as a vampire for the rest of his life, and she's cursed to, you know, constantly come into his life and die, I guess, and just constantly be reincarnated. I'm excited. And it says on here, but this time she comes back as a witch whose destiny wasn't to love him, but to kill him. So I'm pretty excited for this one. We'll see if I get to that one, though. The next one is a Fairy Loot edition of Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. I know that Foul Huntsman has either just released or about to release. I do need to read that. I just don't have it in my stack. But Immortal Longings is her new, I think, standalone. I think it's her new standalone. But anyway, I'm pretty excited for this. I love Chloe Gong. Like, between her first duology and now her Foul Lady Fortune series and stuff, I just can't wait. I cannot wait for that. And then the next one, everybody is talking about this book. I got it from Fairy Loot. Yeah, I got it from Fairy Loot. Was it last year? Had to have been last year, and everybody's talking about it, and I still haven't read it. But that is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I know nothing about this again, but I've seen so many people talking about it, how they love it, how they devoured it. I know Foxglove, the second book, just came out, so maybe I should read Belladonna for, you know, my October vibes. We'll see if I gravitate towards it. The next one is God Killer by Hannah Kaner. Anyway, this is the Illumicrate edition, and I just think this gives me, like, all the autumn and October vibes, guys. Like, all of it. All I know is it's like, when Midrin falls to the gods, your kind will be the first to die. I'm intrigued. Has anybody read this? Please let me know below. I need to know if this is good. But that is on my TBR. I'm kind of pushing some of my cozy or romance, you know, books aside. We'll talk about those in a moment. I do want to read My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. This is kind of, I think, like a comedic type, you know, thing where, like, she moves into an apartment building, I think, and, like, her neighbor works all night or something and is up all night, and so she's determined that he's a vampire. But I heard that it's not a horror, it's kind of like a more lighthearted horror, so I can't wait to read this. It's not very big, but I can't wait to read that. The next one was my Book of the Month pick for September, and that is The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa Matlin. So this is a thriller, and if you've been on my channel for very long, you know that I don't really read thrillers, although Lisa Jewell, I love Lisa Jewell. I read Invisible Girl last October. I do plan on reading her new one, All of This Is Not Real, or This Is All a Lie, I think. I don't know. That new book I plan on picking up. But The Stranger Upstairs, this sounds really good. I can't wait to pick this up. It's not very long. It says on the back, a gruesome history, a hostile neighborhood, a new owner with a shocking secret. Welcome to Blackwood House. So maybe some horror-esque vibes, but it's a thriller. I'm all in. I'm all in for that during October. The next one was a recent purchase that I got, and I don't even know if this is technically like a gothic or a horror or a thriller, but that is Blackbird of the Gallows by Meg Castle. Just this cover gives me October vibes, does it not? It gives me October vibes. And of course, a dark, twisty thrill ride from beginning to end. It's going on October, right? Like, I might not read it. Let's just be honest. Of course, I would love to do a reread of Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton, and then Hunting Adeline, the cat and mouse duet. I actually met H.D. Carlton last October during the Authors in the Bluegrass series, convention, and I actually got my copies of Haunting and Hunting signed. So I want to do a reread of this. I just love this series. It's so dark, so gothic, so good. So I want to do a reread on that. And then I also want to do a reread of From Salt to Sky by Adrienne Lee. I also got this one signed at Authors in the Bluegrass as well. And all the authors that I got them signed from are just absolutely amazing. My Savage Lands was also signed by Stacey Marie Brown there at Authors in the Bluegrass. So I definitely want to do a reread of From Salt to Sky, the Legends and Lovers series. It's really, really good. I remember that I had a lot of mythology and folklore in there that I'm pretty intrigued with. So it really stuck with me. I really absolutely loved that book. And so she's a great author. She really, really is. So if you haven't checked that book out, definitely check it out. It's not very long, but so good. The next book is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. This is its own standalone. And I think it's like the Monsters to Enemies or Monsters to Lovers series, something like that. A bunch of authors got together and created their own standalones that were connected to other series. This is connected to the Crowns of Nyaxia series that Carissa Broadbent has going, but this is about the Bloodborne prince, I believe. In the Bloodborne realm and not the Nightborne. So I'm pretty excited. I heard to read this before her next duet comes out. So I have that on my TBR. I also have, when did I get this book? I think this is a Bookish Box book as well that I got. And that is Of Shadow and Moonlight by Luna Laurier. This looks like an October book as well. I know nothing about it. Again, there's a lot of these I know nothing about. But a woman fated to die young, a man cursed to live forever, and a darkness that threatens to destroy everything they love. So, again, another book that I want to read. I mean, so many, you guys. I have so many that give off like a gothic vibe or a horror vibe or a thriller vibe, like all those vibes that you want in October. So I feel like my November and December, it's just gonna be spooky season the rest of the year. I'm okay with that. The next one is called Mortal Remains by Mary Ann Fraser. So I don't know. I think I got this from Book Outlet simply because of the cover. Within days of the explosion, my night terrors returned with a vengeance. I don't know what that is, but Mortal Remains. If anybody's read it or heard about it, let me know below. Also, the next one that I want to read, I need to do a reread of this book because I want to finish the series. So I want to do a reread of A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness because I have not read the other two, which is Shadow of Night and The Book of Life. I haven't read those. So I want to do a reread of this one so then that way I can go on and be refreshed in the story. And then the next one, I don't know, guys. I'm kind of scared of this one, but we're going to see. And that is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Now, I have been told that it is very gruesome and gory. I have been told that it has really big horror vibes. But I've also been told that it's very 80s. So I can watch 80s horror. Like Michael Myers and such. Did he come out in the 80s or was that the 70s? I don't care. I don't really watch horror, but it gives me those vibes and I can watch those. So my best friend's exorcism I have on there because I definitely want to read it. And also it gives me my childhood because it looks like a VHS tape. Anyway, those are my thoughts. The next one, I had never heard of this, but if you watched my video last year whenever I did my vlog of whenever I went to Authors in the Bluegrass, I picked up, because I went to half price books, I think, and it's called Skeleton King by Charity B. I know nothing about this. It has like a poem on the back, and it says, "In this town, I'm free from shame, a place where everyone knows my name. Glamorizing corpses to feed a need, that's why they call me Skeleton King. They all worship me, but they don't know the real me. All they see is my painted face. Truth is, I'm terrified. All the hope inside me died. Death and cold will forever be my morbid fate. Then she showed me something more, something stealing death's allure." I don't know what this is about. It looks creepy, gives me all the vibes. We're going to try it out. Hopefully. The next one I put on here because I'm trying to figure out if I want to keep it or not. Because I haven't been drawn to it at all. And I know nothing about it, but I'm just not drawn to it. And that's Fairy Loot's version of The Darkening by Sunyamara. I don't know what this is about. I know that they came out with a second book, I think. But it's the Fairy Loot edition, and I just don't know. It just hasn't piqued my interest. And it says, "A fierce revolutionary, a desperate prince. Together they will face the storm or be swept away." So it's called The Darkening. So I don't know if it's good, but I have it on here. There's a lot of these books that I do have on here. Not that I'm not excited to read them, but books that are on my shelf that I've had there for a year or more, or even less than a year, that maybe I've not been gravitated towards. Like, I've put it on my shelf and I forgot about it. Like, I forget that I even own it. And I think that's a bad thing whenever something doesn't grab your attention the way that it should. You want to get it off the shelf. This one as well has not grabbed my attention. I have not wanted to just like grab this book and like read it, but everybody raves about it. And the second book either just came out or is about to come out. So now I need to read this book. And that is Fairy Loot's edition of One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I know that it's like a gothic fantasy, horror, romance, something like that. And it deals with tarot cards, I think, magic, like tarot magic. That's all that I really know about it. I want to read this. I want to see what all the hype is about. I want to know if I love it or if I don't. Just so I can start clearing out my shelves of these special editions. Like, they're beautiful, you guys. The special editions, all of them that I've gotten, are stunning in more than one way. But I have come to realize that I don't need beautiful editions to sit on my shelf. What I need are books to sit on my shelf that I am absolutely like obsessed with, or that I just can't wait to read. Like, I have my Aragon series here. These are like ancient old hardbacks, like, you know, forever ago hardbacks. I don't plan on getting different covers. I love them. I even have my Cruel Prince trilogy. So that's my thing. Like, I want books on here that I'm absolutely like obsessed with, or books that I just cannot wait to read. The last stack that we have. Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. Again, I don't know anything about it, but it just gives me those, you know, October spooky vibes. And I think that she's like a true crime person, possibly. And she lives next door to a serial killer. But I think they fall in love. Or she thinks he's a serial killer. I hope he's not a serial killer and she falls in love with him. That would be like extra dark. I don't know if I can read dark like that. Like, Haunting Adeline is probably one of the darkest books that I've read. Up until a book that I just read earlier this week that you're going to see in my wrap up, because it was extra dark. The next one, I don't even know where this book came from, you guys. It's not even in my inventory, so I have no idea where it came from. But that's The Fallen by Thomas Snigowski. I'm just going to assume, because it says The Fallen and Leviathan 1. So, of course, this is a series. Like, do I need to start another series? No, I do not. But I also want to know why this is on my shelf, because I've never bought this. Did I buy this? I don't even know. It's not even in my inventory. Anyway, I think it might be like an angel thing. Is he a fallen angel? I think he might be. Okay. Now that we've got that out of the way. The next book that I want to read, I think we're out of like the spooky vibes. Does anybody think I can read all of those in October? Because I would be out of my mind. Like I couldn't work if I needed to read all those. So we're going to have a spooky November and a spooky Christmas is what we're going to have. And I don't read Christmas books, so maybe that's a good thing. Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. I have loved her Serpent in the Wings of Night series. I loved her novella in there. I don't know how her standalone in that thing is, but I've heard a lot of people rave about this, and it's been on my shelves for a few months now. It's time to just crack it open. It's time to dive into the world that I know nothing about. I love going into books that I know nothing about. I buy books. Not going to lie, you guys. There's a lot of times I'm browsing Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. I go physically to the store. Go to used stores. There is so many times that I will see a book title and I'll be like, oh, I've heard a lot of people talking about that. Let's buy it. Or I'll be like, look at that beautiful cover. I need to read it. Without reading the synopsis. Like, that is how most of these books got on here. Now, like I said in a previous video, it's worked for me going in blind. Like, more times than not, I have 3, 4, 5-star reads. There are times that I get 1 and 2-star reads. There are times that I get DNFs. But more times than not, I find enjoyment out of them or I find a new love for them. So we're going to go in blind with this one as well. And then the next one, again, I bought this just entirely because of the vibes of this book, of what it looks like. And that is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. And all it says on the back, guys, is all books, no matter their binding, will fall to dust. The stories they carry may last longer. They might outlive the paper, the library, even the language in which they were first written. The greatest story can reach the stars. But look at this cover. Now, I did buy this from Waterstones. So it does say, you know, on the bottom, if you look, it's like 16 pounds. So I don't know. Oh, you're not into focus. Okay. I do not know if this is the UK cover. If it is, then it's stunning because there's foiling and everything on it. But I don't know if the US cover looks like this, but The Book That Wouldn't Burn. I don't know anything about it. We're going in blind. All right, a couple of them that are not spooky, or at least I don't think they're spooky. Smoking Key by Kelsey Sutton, and it just says the end is only the beginning. And it says a sound awakens, there's darkness all around, and then she's falling. By Meg Castle, it is blurbed, which I do have a Meg Castle book in my stack. But anyway, it says, haunting and addictive. Smoking Key is a creepy, imaginative read full of dark mystery and unexpected twists. Okay, we got another spooky vibes. Didn't even know that. But I do know these next two books, the final two books, are not spooky vibes. But I have never read a book by Christina Lauren. So guess what? We're going to try. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This cover is the whole reason why I bought it. You have a cottage in the woods. You have old style letters with some candles. You have a journal. You have a stack of books with some pencils on there. And you also have some coffee. It probably is tea, but I'm saying coffee. And then you got a bunch of woodsy area. Like, you guys, all the vibes that I like. So I've never read a Christina Lauren book. It is time. It is time to try Christina Lauren. I have heard nothing but people rave about this duo. And also I'm kind of interested because Christina Lauren was who interviewed Sarah J. Maas a couple days ago during her live stream that they did through Live Talks LA. And it wasn't a live stream, it was pre-recorded. So that was kind of false advertisement. However, Christina Lauren, they seemed super sweet, and I just was like, I need to read one of your books. I have a few of them on my shelf. It's time. This is the one that I picked. So the last book, you guys, has no vibes at all with anything that I just gave you. But it's a signed exclusive edition from Waterstones, and it's my secret guilty pleasure, but I really don't get pleasure out of it. You know what I mean? It's one of those like books that you read that isn't your typical read. Henry VIII, The Heart and the Crown by Alison Weir. Now, I've never read anything by Alison Weir. I know that she has a lot of books that are in the Tudor time frame that are about all of the queens, Henry VIII, maybe even Henry VII. Anyway, I'm going to make this story extremely short for you. I absolutely am obsessed with the Tudor time frame. I'm obsessed with before Henry VIII, whenever it was the Plantagenets against the Lancasters, whenever it was, Edward the Third, Edward the Fourth, maybe Edward the Third, and then also, you had his brother Richard the Third, and then you had Henry Tudor. So my whole thing is, I'm obsessed with probably the 1400s to 1600s England. That time period, I will read any book about it. I mean, you guys can't see, but this shelf below me here is nothing but Tudor stuff. So, I love it. Anyway, I wanted to get this. It is a signed copy. I don't even know what else you could talk about Henry VIII. Well, at least for me, because I've literally read like a biography on him, an autobiography, just everything. So I could write a whole thing, but from a second son, not born to rule, to the man and king he became, which he was not a good king. But it does say Alison Weir's most ambitious Tudor novel yet reveals the captivating story of a man who was by turns brilliant, romantic, and ruthless, the king who changed England forever. Fun fact, you guys, did you know that some of the policies and things that Henry VIII did in his time created what the politics and how, Parliament or, democracy is structured, all because of Henry VIII? Did you guys know that? So anyway, that's what I mean. Like, I'm a huge history person. But anyway, I really like Henry VIII, and maybe sometime if anybody leaves me any comments, I may tell you how I'm related to Henry VIII. Wouldn't you want to know? Anyway, these are all the books that I'm not going to be getting to, but they are going to be on my mood reads thing. I have a specific shelf over here that I am just going to set them on, and that's the only shelves that I'm going to look at other than the pre-orders that I have coming in that I am excited to read. But that is all that I am going to look at. I'm not going to look at any of my other books that I know is on there and books that I know that I want to read because I want to get through these. So whatever books I don't get to, by the end of the year. I am just going to roll them over, and guess what? That's going to be my January TBR, and I am going to keep rolling them over until I get through this stack, because it is time to start getting rid of some of these special editions that I maybe don't love. It's time for me to start cleaning out my shelves. I've been trying all year, but the book boxes just keep adding up more and more, and I'm about to cancel a few of them, and I'm very sad about it, but it is just time. It is time to cut that cord. I know that there's going to be books that I'm going to want, but I think all of my YA subscriptions that I have with Fairy Loot and Bookish Box, I'm getting rid of them, because I don't gravitate towards YA anymore. And I know that from time to time there's going to be that one-off book that I'm going to want to read, but more times than not I find myself just selling them, getting rid of them to friends, whatever the case may be. So I am going to be canceling a lot of my YA subscriptions, actually all of them, and I am going to keep my adult subscription with Illumicrate and Fairy Loot and Bookish Box at the moment. But I do feel like I think I'm going to start cutting one or more of them. I think I might end up cutting all of them. Not that their special editions aren't beautiful, and not that like I wouldn't want, future special editions that are not in the subscription boxes, and I'd want early access to it. But to be honest, you guys, as much as the books are beautiful, and as much as I would love to have the pretty editions on my shelves, I am just acquiring more books than I can possibly read off of my shelves each month, and it's just time. It's time to make that decision, and that was another announcement that I was going to make, because my Pango Books account is linked below. Not the ones that are in this stack, but I am going to be going through my shelves over the next couple of weeks on the weekend, and any special editions that I haven't read that I'm just not drawn to, or that maybe I'll pick up at a later date, and maybe I can just pick it up on audio. If I end up loving it, fine, I'll fork out the money and get the special edition, but I think I'm just going to get rid of a lot of them. My cat is moving. I'm so sorry. Anyway, I guess it's time for me to wrap that up. That was another announcement. If you are not following my Pango Books account, because you can be a follower and be notified when I post new books on there. If you go and become a follower on there, at least you can see when special editions go on there, and there might be a special edition or two that you would want to pick up that you've seen me haul, or you've seen me talk about that's on my shelves, whenever I did my reorganization at the beginning of this year, and maybe you'll want to get it. So definitely go make sure you're a follower of there, and I will wait, a couple days after this video is up, so it gives people time to watch the video, get to the end, become a follower. And that is all that I have for you guys. I'm sorry that it's going to be going down to one video a week, but I just have to do it because I won't be able to keep up with vlogging and reading as much as I read. I mean, you guys have watched. I will go through anywhere from like 3 to 7 books in a week on a normal week, and that is not even going to be close to what I'm going to be able to do in October and November and the first half of December. There is just no way I'm going to be able to do that. So I have to just go down to one video a week and just mash it all up into one video that's going to be 30, 40, 50 minutes long each week, but I'm so sorry about that. I hope you guys stick it out with me, because then the rest of the year we're going to go back to my fun vlogs, my recommendation videos, my on hauls, my book hauls, all of these fun things. We're going to get some sprints going at the beginning of the year, so make sure that you're a Patreon member. We also have that book club going, but I am probably going to be making an announcement on there that we are putting the book club on hold until January, because there's just no way I'm going to be able to keep up with that as well. So make sure that you become a Patreon member. Make sure that you get there for all of that. Make sure you become a follower on my Pango Books account. Make sure that you like and subscribe this video. And if you are still here with me on this video at the very end, then definitely leave me a comment below and put a pumpkin, put a leaf, whatever you think that the spooky vibe, Halloween vibe, fall vibe, whatever vibe you're in as you're watching this video, I want to know. Leave me an emoji. But until next time, everyone, you will get a special video this Tuesday, and that is going to be my wrap-up video for all the books that I read in September. So there will be one final video going out on Tuesday. That one hasn't even been filmed yet because we're not even through September. However, just be on the lookout for that. That will be the last Tuesday video until middle of December. So I will see you all next time in the next video. Bye.